They say art imitates life. I'm about to believe it, so I creatively write. See, I'ma tell you like it sure enough is. I'm the red-headed gypsy with some goddamn sins. I left my home in Texas, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've been resting my bones, watch the tides roll away. Pimps, 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 pimps patrol the scene. Hippies, 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 hippies hiding the brain. It's all kind of people doing all kind of things. What works for you may not work for the next man. I'ma tell you like it sure enough is. I'm gonna give it to you straight. It's coming straight from the hill. You're watching Southern Redhead Redfoxx Reviews. Enjoy the commentary, but pardon my views. But while you're at it, hit the like button. I'm sure you will agree. You may as well subscribe, and thank you for touching bases with me. Welcome back to Southern Redhead Redfoxx Reviews. We are going to continue with reviewing the show Force that airs on Stars on Sundays at 7 p.m. And this is going to be a review over episode 2. Episode 2, which is titled King of the Goddamn Hill. You follow me? King of the Goddamn Hill. So, let's delve into it. Episode 2. So, the show opens up with Tommy at the pier. Again, it's set in Chicago. And he's reflecting and reminiscing as he did in episode 1. Again, in episode 2. And he's sitting there, beautiful scenery, very beautiful, with the water and the buildings and things like that, and the skyline and the lights, and the lights beaming down onto the water. Very beautiful sight. So he's there, perched on his vehicle, and he's reminiscing, reflecting rather, and all of a sudden he receives a call from his brother, and I failed to mention in episode 1 that the guy that he met at the while visiting his grandmother in the convalescent home, African American guy, brown skin. Tommy is white, Caucasian. He happens to be his brother. They both are the children of Kate. So there's a brother, JP, who's lived in Chicago and who's been able to be around his grandmother. So Tommy finds that he has a brother, episode 1. So episode 2, while Tommy is at the pier reflecting, he receives a phone call from his brother stating that the bar had been shot up. So Tommy rushes over there to see what in the world is going on. And he meets his brother JP, and he's sweeping up the bar. And they kind of chat a little bit about possible, well, Tommy says, hey, this appears to be a message. They're sending you a message. And JP says that he knows that it's been shot up like 3 times already. So that is very, very interesting. But when this show opens up, it shows a vehicle, a black Magnum, with a hand arm extending out of the window with a black glove and this gun. I want to say it's a chopper or something with a drum or something, because it has this big round piece or whatever. And so so to know that they're using that type of ammunition and that it's been shot up twice, that's very interesting. So like Tommy said, they're sending you a message, and I too believe it. So they're discussing that JP says this has been, a money pit. It just keeps happening. Gotta come out of money. My ex-husband is not answering. I have no help, and it's at that time when Tommy made the connection that his brother was gay. But instantaneously, JP asks and says, "Is that going to be a problem?" He said, "No, an ex is an ex," and they just carry on. So that is his brother, and it's been shot up. So Tommy gave him $10,000 to help with him hoping to get the bar back together, whole again, the windows fixed and things like that. And JP says to him, "It's going to be more than that, but no, I don't want it." And he tosses it back. He doesn't want Tommy's money. Instantly, when I saw the JP owned the bar, Tommy's in town, and things like that, I instantly said, "Oh, this is going to be what's up. This is going to be what's up for Tommy," because, all they need is a little storefront, a little meeting spot, a little something. Now, I didn't quite, I tried to look at the bar that Gloria worked at. That was Dr. Parker's office in comparison to JP's bar. It looks a little alike. And so next episode for 3, I'm going to pay very close attention if it's ever said in there again. I saw this rather blue and red swirly looking like psychedelic picture that sat on the bar, the back bar against the wall where the liquor is. So maybe I'll be able to compare if that's that or not. But it probably isn't now that I think about it, because then he would have said, "Hey, where's Gloria?" or mentioned Gloria. But it kind of looked alike. But when Chicago, a lot of people, they live above storefronts and things like that. So the buildings may be reminiscent of another building. So, so that was very interesting there. So it moves to another scene where Vic is seen with his dad. His dad, Mr. Flynn, is in the office, and he's coughing, and actually he's receiving a message from the doctor's office stating that they need to do lab work. They need for him to call as soon as possible, and it's very, very important. So here we are able to see that Mr. Flynn is rather ill. Yeah. And his son is aware of this and knows this. However, Claude does not, the daughter. So they're hiding this from Claude as much as possible. But it's a relation to the mom who's deceased already, Flynn's wife, that they held off with talking about her illness as well. So I don't know how long for sure the mom has been dead, but she has gone on. So they're having this conversation because he really wants his dad to tell Claude. Dad refuses, but Dad wants to talk about how I need you to understand and know that you will be the heir to lead the family. This is your birthright, to step up the legacy and make me proud. And boy, does that father have a thick, heavy accent. So, now we're going to move along. This is very interesting because Tommy is now able to kind of move and groove in Chicago. Woo. And so, based on episode 1, when he kind of bogarted the whole drop situation, like I said before, he left with the bag. He left with the dope and the money. You follow me? So, in this episode, Tommy visits the barbershop where Diamond is, and he brings the black bag. And he comes in. So you got the hitters outside, they guarding the door. You got this one fellow inside, and Jannard and Diamond on the inside. But the other 2 hitters, they outside. So everybody out on, up on, like, who is this white guy? But Diamond remembered the conversation that Jannard had with him, stating what happened during the drop, that it was this white boy that just came and Bin Laden the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So they like this white guy. So Diamond instantly reflected on that conversation and knew, this is the guy you must be talking about. So Tommy enters in the barbershop and he greets them, and instantly Diamond say, "What's in that bag?" "Right on, my brother. Yeah, you coming up in here? We don't know if you strapped, what you got, surveillance, anything. What's in that bag?" And Tommy instantly states that it's pretty much what I left with from the drop the other night. And JP was like, "What you bringing it here for?" He said, "I ain't in the business be snatching chains and things like that. That ain't what I do." Pickpocketing and snatching chains. He make money. That ain't nothing. He said, plus it stepped on with baby aspirin and so forth. So yeah, y'all can have that. So at that time, with that whole conversation, the guys that were outside, they come in to try to see what's up, what's the play, and the two guys, they drawed out on Tommy. And Jannard, Diamond is saying, "Put your straps up." The what we gonna call them? The foot soldiers. Foot soldiers like, "Shoot, we don't what's up, what it do?" What? No, we ain't finna do nothing until we get the say. But the say ain't gonna come from Diamond. For them to put it up, the say gotta come from Jannard. So we see here the respect is for Jannard with the little homies, the foot soldiers. And that that's going to have to be something that between the two of them is going to have to be worked on, like who's in charge, who gets to, delegate this and tell people to do this and that. Very, very interesting. Great takeaway there. So that gets that introduces us to the familial sibling potential rivalry, conflict, and issues. So that was rather interesting. And the whole time, what Tommy doing? Peeping everything. Best believe it. Yes, ma'am. And so, Jannard, he pulls out his strap. So I guess this how I go. If your boys pull out, and you the big homie, and we waiting on you to say, put it down. The big homie or that guy who's calling the shots, he got to pull out his and say, put it down. And then they put it down. He could have just said it verbally, but no, he had to show it and tell them at the same time. He had to verbalize and take action as well. And then they put the straps up. And it was then where Diamond was like, "Come on, man. Y'all ain't got to be doing all that." And he goes and get his jacket. He tosses the bag to Jannard and tells him to handle it. And then he gets his jacket and he commences to walk out the front door of the barbershop. And he tells Tommy, "Come on, let's take a walk." So instantly, you already know, Diamond's trying to see who is this nigga. What's really going on? Where you come from? Then you bringing us to work back and the money. Then you just my brother say you just popped up on the scene. Then what's your angle? So while they're trying to kind of get an understanding of each other, and I guess who are we? You, I think it was a Chevy Caprice box. It was some box. They pulled up. And they put these black things over their heads so that they can get in the vehicle because they were getting kidnapped, abducted. And so, Tommy's silly, but I take it that you know these guys. So they put the two hoods over their heads. And so we then go into a scene where they're in a warehouse. They're in this warehouse with this lady and this man. The guy has on this nice little Versace shirt. He's Sachi down, Sachi. And, they're trying to, I guess, prove a point, flex, they muscle. But the big picture is they want them to hustle this H, some boy. If none of y'all know what that is. Ain't no girl, it's some boy. And, Diamond says, I don't deal with that. He's like, "You gonna do it today? And I do mean I need my money back in 3 hours. We gotta have this, and that, whoop. So of course he's trying to. So they kind of trying to make Tommy, Wooty Woon Tommy being all sarcastic, and Jay Diamond says, "Say man, he came with me. He need to leave with me." And then Diamond kind of smooths it over to say, "Matter of fact, if you talking about this, then he definitely got to come because he got to. Pretty much, we're gonna do this together to make it happen." So that saves the day. That saves the day. So that scene leads us to the rest of the show, the episode, where we find that Diamond and Tommy both have to hustle this dope, and they have to get the money. So along the show, we find that Diamond is driving the blue Mustang, which is Tommy's. So you have a black guy in the driver's seat and a white guy in the passenger. So they're going to make drops and try to move some little, here and there. And along the way, they were stopped by a police officer while Tommy was in trying to make a move, bust a move. And, man, it was sad to see because we know Diamond just got out of jail. He ain't did no wrong. And then here come the police officer, just interrogating him and show me your license and this and that. And Diamond didn't want to move his hands from the steering wheel in fear that his actions may be perceived that they are to be used against you or and so forth, whatever the proper phrase it is to use. I guess I should know that because raising young boys, we need to be able to express that to our children. What's the proper verbiage when you are approaching, you don't feel comfortable and safe removing your hands from the steering wheel in fear that you may perceive them as a threat. I think that's exactly how he said it. So they're going back and forth and this and that, and it's a very tense moment, and all of a sudden Tommy pops out. Say, man, what's going on? You with him? You with this guy? He said, yeah, that's my barber. And he used Diamond's real name. Diamond Sampson. David something Sampson. And for the most part, they got out of the situation, but it was sad to see because the police officer plainly stated it was going to be a barbecue today. I thought that was very rude. And so Tommy then is noticing, golly, Chicago a mess. You can't even go in the... it's just too much. It's just too much in Chicago. He's trying to bust a move, and all the black guys get stopped all the time, and just little, And so that's a great takeaway from episode 2, that the police are like really, really out there surveilling and stopping African Americans, especially men. So that was one instance. In another instance, 2 police cars drove up behind them at a stop sign, flagged them with their lights, 2 of them, but they never exited. So they kind of stood there 5 seconds, they paused, and then they drove away. So, phew, close call. And then the second close call when Tommy came out from busting his move, and so those were 2 little stops along the way. Now, since we're speaking of police, Tommy went to a particular area, and guess who jumped out? Liliana from New York, from the show Power. Yes, she's in Chicago. So while they're in the alleyway scuffling and doing all this rigmarole, here go the police again. Stop in the alleyway on the street. But they're here. Okay? So the police is driving here, stop, they're here, and therefore they're having to play it off like they're just having, casual conversation and nothing is wrong. In another close call, they leave. So that's one attempt, and he's fairly sitting up there with a Mexican talking. 2 fair-skinned people talking. Here go the police here. Here go the police pulling up behind us. Here go police down on you when I go, try to bust a move. So the police is, it's a big threat out there in Chicago. So I hate to see that. It makes you nervous about all the things that, in this crime syndicate of a show. There's going to be a lot of police around that's going to have us on our edges a lot of the time. So that's an interesting takeaway from that. So they're on the prowl. They gotta get their money, and they gotta get their money, man, like in 3 hours. And so we'll jump back into that. But I want to touch on how Claude and Vic, they're two, the brother and sister of the Flynn family, they're having a conversation over Claude wants to expand. So currently they hustle and the family grinds cocaine. Okay. From episode 1, we learned that Claude had an encounter with the female and she provided her with a drug that was snorted, but come to find out, from what I hear, the new drugs that are outside of heroin and cocaine and marijuana, those are like basic. The other type of drugs are called designer drugs. Ecstasy, Molly, probably not crystal meth. That would probably be like a basic. But so I would take it that this is more of a designer. And Clyde wants to introduce it to the family business. And so it can make up for losses that the business have. And so that's Claude propositioning, and Vic is like, no, man, we have to do all that. No, that's not what we do. And the drug, when they mentioned it, she mentioned it as though it was a chemical solution. So anytime you think of things like that, that's something that's man-made, like a concoction of things to get a person high. So that is how she wants to try to do that as well. So that's the conflict there, that Claude wants to, she wants to have some say in the business. She wants to proposition things, and she feels as though, I can tell that she's a little smarter, a little bit more savvy than her brother. But of course, Mr. Flynn, the father, expects Vic to be the heir to the legacy. In continuation, we find that when in episode 1, when Diamond was leaving the jail, the guy that was in the wheelchair that said, we're going to wait till he get comfortable and then we're going to get him. This is who kidnapped him and Tommy. So this is the payback from Rojas. And so this is what that's about. So for payback, they need them to hustle, kind of making them do something to help them. But it's really payback situation. And so Tommy asked him, well, that ain't Diamond, because they mentioned that while they were held captive. Diamond say, man, Tommy said, why you ain't put him 6 feet under? He said, I didn't want to have to do life behind that. See, when I was in jail, I handled Jannard's business on the inside. Jannard, my brother, handled it on the outside. So I can see that being true, because if you're in a life of crime, your foot soldiers, your people, your clique, your crew, they might have to do a little time, but everybody going to have to hold it down in there, then we got to hold it down on the street. So he was saying that he had to hold it down in the jail while his brother held it down, and that was the situation at hand, in which Rojas became disabled and then in a wheelchair. So, and he also made the statement that he had to take care of his brother his whole life. So they're very, very close. They're very, very close. So, like I said, they're making their sales to some more Mexican, Hispanics. I'm going to call them Mexicans. To this lady, she's doing fixing up a shop. Cars are like a chop shop type thing. And Tommy, he put the brick up under the second trash can, so he already know how to move and maneuver. And so Diamond's sitting in the car waiting for him to go inside to try to sco it, try to sell it and move it. And while he's outside, the guys come out after, Tommy says that it's underneath the second trash can, and he peeps like, because he's on the lookout while he inside, and he peeps that they came out to the second trash can and picked it up, and you can see the rectangular shaped item, and that's what that was. So I can tell the Diamond peeping. Oh, he was smart enough to know, don't never walk up in there with your your issue on you. You stash it, tell them where it's at, so that if all this go down, at least the issue, the dope can be found, and if they take a life and woo, then it can be so forth. So Diamond, I could tell, observed that he knew not to walk in there. He's been observing Tommy, and Tommy's been observing Chicago, everything. So then they received a call stating that Jannard, the brother, is in the custody of the Rojas crew. So now time is really ticking. They gotta hustle this. They gotta get their money. They gotta get. Diamond needs to get his brother. So they also visit this Amish store. So here, when I see Chicago, I notice that we're going to see a lot of cultural diversity. And I like that. I like history. So I like to kind of see how everybody's moving and grooving and living and doing things. So, with that news that Jannard has been captured and that they need to get the money, they really tried to make sure that they accomplished their goal, and they did, and they do. So then they are to meet with them at a particular spot, and they do so with the money, and Jannard is exchanged, and Jannard comes out. So that was good to know that character hadn't died off, or, so he was able to retrieve his brother and so forth. So again, Tommy is there all the way through. Isn't that something? Tommy just bogart all on the drop last episode. He done showed up with now he's helping Diamond, so there's trust being built. Diamond also is being made aware of the fact you're not the law. I'm peeping you ain't even police either. What you doing? What you clocking my city? He be like, yeah. He talking what you want. He talking about shit. I'm about my money. I'm trying to get paid. So they're kind of on even footing ground, that they both kind of have the same mentality and from the streets. And so that's a great takeaway there. So throughout the episode, we also see that Tommy, he still needs to find a place of his own to sleep. What is he going to do? So again, Chicago is one of those places, pretty similar, I would imagine, to New York, Midwest, or those type of cities, that people reside over a store or in basements or in connection with commercial property or something like that. So he goes to this fire station that has an old fire station that says for lease. He knocks on the door and he offers the guy some money to leave and let him have it. He offered him a wad. The guy was like, no. He was like, and then he offered him some more to say, hey, can this make you lose your memory that I was ever here? And the guy said, yes. Let me get my toothbrush. And so now he has a place. He goes above the fire station where typically it's an abandoned one. But typically at fire station, there's a living quarters for the firemen. So it's relatively nice. Looks like a loft type feel. And so now Tommy has a place to live. That's his home. And it's off in the cut. It's somewhere nobody would ever find him. So that was a good thing. I was wondering where he was going to stay. And all I could think about was maybe a high rise with, an elevator and, some good security and things like that. So he's kind of ducked off. And so the scene then goes to Liliana, where he barges into her spot, which is the young lady from the power show that he knew in New York. And so they're both like, man, you come for me. She like, no, you come for me. And so it's just a coincidence that, and he has history with her because she has a scar on her face that he did to her. And so like I said, they have a lot of history, but She is known. Well, so he barges into her house and he kind of stomps her out and beat her up, with the woo, because you can't never really leave your enemy living like that, or you just don't know what they up to. So he had to go get the feel of her, and so while he's bruising her up and getting very physical with her, he commences to try to stomp. And when his foot presses against the floorboard, it kind of collapses in that space, and his foot is stuck on a bunch of bricks. Now, what does foot do that for? That was just a welcoming Tommy needed. So he cleaned up in Chicago, new to the city, and he got him up on some work. Now he can make a couple power moves. I already seen it. When I saw it, I'm like, it's raining dope up in here. On this show, it's just raining freely. And so he was like, where you get this from? And it had I think it's a scorpion or a spider on there. I remember that from Power. And so it's the same dope that was in the original Power season show that he remembers as much as he remembers. How you get this and why you got this and you in town and so forth. So she implies that don't worry about how I got it. And also that crew, I think the Jimenez brothers, they don't know I have it. They don't know I'm here. Why are you here? So they're at conflict because they don't, each of them don't want anyone to know where they are. Rather interesting, huh? So episode 3 is going to get more in detail about how is their relationship going to be, because they're really enemies, but she got the dope. So from that point, we see here that Tommy is going to be able to have some work, what they call it, some work in the streets. He can be able to bust a couple moves. He did already, assess the town. He's already made his observations. He has a connection with Diamond. He's become aware of the Flynn family. So he's in his head thinking, shoot, this is going to be, y'all finna get it popping around here. And so that's how that scene ends. So that's a great takeaway there, that she does not want anyone to know she's there. And I'm thinking about it, yeah, because you probably just stole the dope and ran off from New York to Chicago. Because you got some, but she's a part of a crew out there, but they don't really know. So we'll learn. That's going to unfold how, why she's there, how she's there, who she's working with, and things like that. But Tommy is questioning her, and I would too, and she should do the same. So I'm surprised she's even kind of. We'll see how episode 3 will unfold. So pretty much that wraps up episode 2. Oh, in conclusion, Tommy is seen at this little, it looks like a wrecking yard industrial area space. It's up under a bridge which the public transportation train flows. So the train is here, and underneath is like this space and barbed wire and so forth. And Tommy is there, and all you can hear are screams and kicks and so forth. And there's people or someone at the trunk of that car. So he finished drinking his drink. About like me. And he tossed that bottle down. He was smoking on either a blunt or a square. So he drank his drink. And he flicked his fire. And that trick, he drank his drink, and then he walked a little bit. He poured a little bit of that drink along that little pathway, him walking. He flicked that square, his fire, and it led to the vehicle, and it exploded. Okay? Don't know look, I ain't see that coming. I knew I heard the sound, but what? And so the scene then goes to Tommy walking up to the barber shop. It's late in the evening. Remember, Jannard has been captured. Okay, they got the dope. They sold the dope, got the money, got Jannard back. The night is over. Tommy causes the vehicle to explode. And then we see in the next scene Tommy walking outside on the sidewalk in the dark, hooded. And he walks up to the window of the barber shop and he holds up the what? The Versace shirt. Man, Jannard looking like, man, that's that motherfucking shirt. That's it. That nigga. What? Yeah. I would have told y'all. Y'all don't know what y'all in fooling with Tommy. Tommy got to get the gab. Tommy know how to hustle, get that money. Look who his partner was. His partner was Goals. What you think? Then he even got the balls, the unmitigated gall to go to Chicago and just feel like he finna jump on the scene and do what it do. And that really sets the tone for this show. That Tommy is a go-getter and he can literally make things happen. And he encounters pain, strife, and struggle and hardships and things, but he always tends to persevere. And so that scene there with him holding up the Versace shirt, and of course we know he just calls death upon the wearer of this shirt, which is the guy from the Redfoxx crew that hit him upside the head, told him to sell the dope and bring the money back in 3 hours. That scene there lets us know that Tommy and Diamond now have a connection. He's proven himself. I'm a go-getter. I get money and I get down. You follow me? So you ain't got to worry about me. I know I make it do what it do. And so I kind of trust that. I trust their relationship now. Because Tommy was able to show that to Diamond. And Diamond is more mature. He just got off lock and stuff like that. So that's a good little relationship and a good balance. And then Tommy needs someone in the city. Diamond is new home. He needs a new connect. He needs a new, sidekick, even though his brother's supposed to be a sidekick. His Ace Boon Coon is number one. But you just never know the directions that Jannard and Diamond are gonna go in the for this season. But Tommy proved himself. And that was a huge weight off of Diamond and Jannard's shoulders, and somebody else did the work. Ain't that something? Yeah, that's something. So I'm glad to know that Tommy's straight in. Told you I like Tommy. That's why I was so glad that he had a spinoff to his show. And that concludes episode 2. King got a goddamn heel. So, while watching this show, I noticed that the characters, namely Tommy, uses a lot of figurative speech. I'm a lively person, so I understand figurative speech myself, idioms and just figurative language. And so some figurative speech that I picked up on in this episode was a big bounce. And I know I've heard of that before, but I've drawn my own conclusions and used critical thinking that big bounce means a come up. So in my reviews of these shows, I'm going to always pay attention to slang, terms, figurative speech, and things like that at the end. I like it. And then, it's just interesting to just touch on that because some people may not know those terms or connect with, the street life. So I thought that would be cool. So the big bounce is a come up. Okay. There's even, there's a book and there's a book and a movie that's titled that. So yeah, it's like it's a come up, it's conning somebody out of something. And then the phrase got the drop. Got the drop is kind of getting the heads up on what's finna go down, And then they all use always good running into old friends. That's very explanatory. And so the reason why I wanted to like just share these little one-liners and this type of verbiage is because Tommy is known for saying like these little, I don't know what how could I put it? It's not it's just a little humor, but it's sarcasm. But he always has these little one-liners. And so when he and Liliana were scuffling in the alleyway when the police came up, after they had to play it off and they went their separate ways, in the midst of that, she cut his jacket, with the knife, and he had a tear. And so he said, "This is why we can't have nice things." Now, why are you saying that after y'all just had a scuffle and it was a potential, I'm not going to say deadly incident, but it could have, somebody would have shot someone. But Tommy going to say, "This is why we can't have nice things." So I've always been fond of his little humor and his little, So again, this has been the conclusion of my review of episode 2. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll be returning back for episode 3. And I can tell you now, you're going to be in for a treat. Again, thank you for stopping by Southern Redhead Redfoxx Reviews. I ask that you make sure that you subscribe. Do subscribe. Like the video and comment. Engagement and comments, they're always helpful for this channel to grow and get in the algorithm, and for other people to become aware that the channel exists. So again, I just ask that you make sure that you at least subscribe. Okay, so again, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you during episode 3.